Men, do you feel overwhelmed by your business? Well, you're in luck. I'm Grant Dowsett. I went from drowning in booze to ocean views and now help the men who are the leaders in business to go from overwhelmed to in control with my visioneering formula. So just between you and me, there's a question I wish someone had asked me years earlier than they did. And it's, why do seemingly intelligent, capable men keep repeating the same old patterns over and over for years on end, even when they absolutely know better? Why, you might ask? Because that's most definitely me. I wouldn't call myself lazy by any stretch, or stupid, although some might disagree, I'm sure. I wasn't even unaware. I most definitely knew what I should be doing. I just wasn't doing it anywhere near consistently enough, or at all in some cases. I'd make a decision, a real one in my mind, like, okay, this is it. Things are going to really change for good this time. And for a while they did. I'd feel focused, clear, motivated, ready to take on the world. Then slowly, almost insidiously, my old behaviours would silently creep back in. The pressure would build, the edge would come off, and I'd go straight back to my usual way of coping. For me, that was vast amounts of alcohol and 3 years of depression in the end. For you, that might hopefully look different. Maybe it's overworking to avoid thinking about it. Maybe it's procrastinating on the one move you deep down know really matters. Maybe it's voraciously chasing growth while completely ignoring your health. Or blowing up relationships or success right when things are going well for you. Different habits, same old loop. As us old timers say, just like a broken record. And the most dangerous part? You start believing you are the problem. The conscious part of you, that is. I used to say to myself that I lacked discipline, that I didn't deserve to be successful, that I just needed to try harder, be tougher, push more. But all that did was create more internal conflict. Here's what I didn't understand back then, and this is important. Your behaviour isn't random, it's obedient. It's obedient to how you see yourself, it's obedient to what feels familiar to you. It's obedient to the internal rules you never consciously choose for yourself. At that point in my life, my outer goals were trying to pull me forward, but my inner program was continually pulling me back. And it always wins. That's why you can experience short bursts of success and then find yourself right back where you started. Not because you're a failure, but because you never changed the actual program that's running the show. When I was finally exposed to this work, it completely stopped me in my tracks. In fact, I was shocked. For the first time, I saw my life clearly. I wasn't self-sabotaging, I was self-correcting back to an identity that felt familiar and safe to me. My mind was doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem wasn't my effort, the problem was alignment. Once I understood that the subconscious mind is the control center of the conscious mind, everything shifted. You don't rise to the level of your intentions, you fall to the level of your inner programming. That one realization explained everything. Why my motivation never lasted, why pressure makes things worse, why my willpower always ran out. So instead of fighting my habits, I went deeper. I worked on the internal image I held of myself, the quiet assumptions, the emotional conditioning, the automatic responses I wasn't even aware of. And here's the part that still blows my mind to this day. Once the internal picture changed, my behaviour followed without force. I didn't have to try to be consistent. I didn't have to wrestle with temptation. I didn't have to white knuckle my way through change. The urge simply lost its grip. Clarity replaced chaos. Stability replaced volatility. Momentum replaced the hard slog. And this is where most men miss what's actually possible. When your thinking is aligned internally, you're never really alone. You don't spiral, you recalibrate. You don't panic, you stabilize. You rarely get stuck. You self-correct automatically. It's like having an internal GPS. Instead of being lost, constantly asking for directions. That's the difference between temporary change and permanent internal recoding. Temporary change modifies behaviour. Permanent change rewrites it at the source. If you don't update that source, life will keep pulling you back to what feels familiar even if that familiar is painful to you. So let me ask you something, not as a coach, but as a man who's lived it. What pattern keeps repeating in your life or business? Not the surface habit, but the deeper cycle underneath it that actually produces the exact same result year after year. And who would you be? How would you operate if that cycle simply stopped running? You don't need fixing. You don't need more pressure. You need another tactic or book. You need to readjust your internal set point to all I do is win. If any of this has made sense to you, and if you're curious to understand how this applies specifically to you, there's a self-assessment link below that helps clarify where you're actually stuck and where your leverage really is. And/or you can apply to see if you qualify for a complimentary success blueprint session with me to uncover what's been keeping you stuck. And together we will write a new program that will make you unstoppable. The links are in the description. Bye for now from Grant. I'll literally program you for success, Dowsett.